Hello traders, welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 296, road to 300. You know the drill. We're gonna get into the market, see what happened this week, how we could have flown with the market, and of course have a look at what we can expect for the week ahead. We're having a busy week, so let's have a look at the economic calendar and get into the charts. Alrighty, let's look at the economic calendar. Now on Monday we don't have any news, but having studied the last couple of weeks, usually there are a lot of not news releases, but something in the news. Trump says something, some new developments with everything that is happening in the world, and Monday tends to be pretty big. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna start slowly focusing a little bit more on Monday. But then on Tuesday we have job openings, very important. Then on Wednesday we have Aussie, Euro, and then USD. So this is the preliminary NFP with GDP with interest rates. Okay, so absolutely crazy week. On overall, Wednesday big news, Thursday as well, PCE price index, employment cost index, and unemployment claims here, and also monetary policy from Japan. And then on Friday, NFP with PMI. I think this is an absolutely crazy week. Okay, so very likely we're gonna have volatility, but being also the final week of the month, a lot of times that can also be 50-50, but we're just gonna show up, we're just gonna flow with the market and see what we're gonna be doing. But every single day is gonna be tradable, of course. On the day with interest rate, you have to be waiting potentially for that to come out, because the market could potentially chop until this comes out. And then of course we have Thursday could be pretty big, and then on Friday we have NFP. So usually for NFP, for interest rates, and for CPI, I do tend to wait for the news release to get out, okay? But I would expect we potentially could have a lot of volatility this week, and it's also I really like when NFP gets released like this, so then we have a whole month of August without NFP, without nothing to worry about, so it's probably going to be pretty good. So without further ado, let's check out the charts. All right. We're gonna get started with the DXY. However, before we do that, I just want to very quickly take you into my Discord here and show you some of the trades that my community has taken this week, because we do this outlook on Saturday, and then Monday tends to open and does something completely different. And I've received a couple of comments like, if you don't know where the market is going, then stop doing analysis, okay? And it's usually the guys that don't know what trading is about. What I really recommend is that you actually listen to the thought process, because if you listen to my thought process, you're going to jump in, and the first thing you're going to do on a Monday, you're going to take a win. There it is, the first win of the week going for Ramsha. All of these are real trades executed on real accounts, okay? So we don't accept trades in my community without proof, okay? Then again, another Monday trade here. There we go, 2R again here for Sula, for gold. There we go, Mihai as well. 1.6R here on gold, and again you can see immediately open up the week, we start mark here 2R again with proof of execution. There it is, going on to this is Sula again, another take profit. There is mark here -1 and then +2.5, a little loss here as well. Keith 2R on GU long, right? So you can see the 21st of July, we did the analysis. And if I just very quickly go to GU, like just to show you guys, okay, I was short biased on GU, okay? Because again, I always kind of try to give you some more insights on what I actually expect to happen. And I was more short biased towards the liquidity. However, the first thing that the market does, it goes long, okay? So guess what we do as a community? We go long. There it is, Keith. 21st on a Monday, boom, boom, long trade, 2R, okay? And we went long, although I told you on Saturday we're going to be looking for shorts, but when I do my analysis, I'm immediately flowing with the market. There we go, another gold long community, absolutely killing it at the beginning of the week. There is Boris as well, that was a break even, 3.5R for Mark here, Keith break even on EU, Morpha taking a stop loss, which is pretty fine. 1.3R here on gold again. Gold longs were absolutely beautiful. We crushed it. Gold long here again. 1R. Again, we're not always going to take 2 when the market offers. We're going to take 2 when the market does not offer. We're going to take a 1.1. But what's important is we are stacking profit. Okay. There is Simon here, 1.9R win on gold as well. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, there are going to be also some stop losses. There we go with proof, of course. Nasdaq. So this is Keisha. She lost 1 hour on gold, but then she won 2 hour on Nasdaq. Profitable for the day. Another Nasdaq here, another little profit, break even. So yeah, you can see a lot of trades right there. 2R for USD JPY. Every trade is explained, every trade is given feedback, and every trade is explained absolutely to perfection. Long 2R on S&P 500. 1 hour loss here on Euro USD, some break-even trades here, a couple of break-evens. But yeah, you can see there are a lot of trades, and overall it was an extremely profitable week for me and the community. So right now it's time again. Just wanted to show you that, of course, it doesn't matter what I show you here. If you truly listen to the thought process behind how I analyze and what I'm looking for, you are going to be able to catch trades every single day. So with that being said, let me restart and start with the DXY right now. All right. So let's quickly reverse engineer it by quickly going on to the volatile time frame. Now, again, I was giving you here scenarios. We either pop higher from that bullish imbalance, or we either invalidate the bullish imbalance and then we go lower. Where to? This was my first liquidity target, the weekly imbalance, but then we can see the market was just in a very massive bearish trend. It gave another short right there, and then pretty much towards the end of the week, it initiated a little bit of a pullback. So again, we were taking absolutely longs on EU, GU, gold. Everything was long buys this week. So again, always think in terms of scenarios. Don't just marry the chart saying, okay, we're going to go long. No, just show up in the market. Let the market tell you where it wants to go, and you keep following it. Now, I'm still going to drop that weekly imbalance because still on the weekly time frame, it seems like we are rejecting from something here. And then we drop to the daily, however, and the daily has turned extremely bearish right now, according to me. Now, it's still a little bit kind of, it's not 50, yeah, it's a little bit 50-50 because right now we're tapping into this weekly bullish imbalance. But if you zoom out a little bit, you can see that we're still in a pretty nice downtrend. We're making lower highs, okay, and lower lows, of course. So we're in an absolute downtrend. And what I said is that if the market really crosses above that high, and in this case, this high, this is what is going to potentially unlock the longs, okay? But we can see kind of there were little signs of longs, but then we said, okay, let's see what the market's gonna do, and it just absolutely flushed this week. And right now we have these two bearish imbalances, but we also have that weekly bullish. So to me, a little bit 50-50. We know that we have a deadline for the tariffs on the 1st of August, okay? That is this week, right? Yeah, this is on Friday, and on Friday we also have NFP. So actually, this week is probably going to be kind of the turning point for the market. Are we going to go up or are we going to go down on the DXY? Now, currently, I am a little bit more bearish biased because, again, over the long term, we have been bearish. Right now, fundamentals are also pointing down. And right now, we're having these daily bearish imbalances. The market is just tapping one here on Friday. Kind of came in, reacted, but then you can still see it gave us a little bit of a bullishness as well. So currently the market is really mixed up on the DXY. Again, like, I don't like it, but I really don't care. I genuinely don't care because, again, I'm going to show up on a Monday. I'm going to wait, see where the market guides me, and then I'm just going to take the trade by just very simply listening to the market instead of right now really doing a lot of useless work to say, okay, if we're already bullish, it's going to come here, it's going to come there, it's going to do this, or it's going to do this, or it's going to do that. You don't care, okay? This is why kind of I'm thinking of another way maybe for the weekly outlooks to kind of give you more up-to-date data, but I do this for my community. I wouldn't really be doing daily analysis here on YouTube because it's way too valuable. But again, so what do we have right now? We're having weekly bullish, we're having daily being bearish in control, but right now we have the volatile time frame very recently popping higher. And currently kind of the determining point is this volatile bullish imbalance, because if the market's going to push higher, it's going to push higher potentially from that volatile zone. And where is it going to guide us into? It's going to guide us into that daily imbalance. Then what happens from there, we don't know. This is way too much far back in time, far away in time. What you have to always be thinking about is where is my low hanging fruit? So if you want to take a trade, what are you going to target? If you take a long, you're going to target this high, and then the next target is going to be the daily. And then you stop, okay? Don't then say, okay, I'm going to target this and this. No, this is way too further back. If the market really starts popping and you look for a trade from right here, then you can target this low hanging fruit. But from now, focus on what is really in front of you. And then, of course, if that volatile bullish imbalance fails and the market pops lower, okay, with a volatile bearish imbalance, then pretty much, again, where are your low hanging fruits? Target number 1. And then, of course, target number 2, pretty much, yeah, the low as well. So that's that. This is basically what I'm really looking for. And honestly, I don't have a favorite kind of preferred direction. I would definitely prefer the short side because we have been bearish for quite a while and we have been kind of throwing these very big pullbacks. Okay, here we threw a very deep pullback before we flush. Right now we're throwing a very big pullback and it looks like we again want to flush, potentially target these lows. But this is also going to be extremely fundamentally driven this week because we have so many news. Okay, we have so many news. So once again, guys, detach from expectations, detach from the need to know where the market's gonna go next. You really don't need this, I promise you, right? This is kind of one of my biggest learnings in the last like 6 years, and when this really hit me, I became so much more profitable. Okay, so let us see, let us flow with the market. I have these two scenarios, let's see which one plays out, and then of course as Tuesday, Wednesday goes on, then we're gonna have a lot more new data that we're gonna be able to work with. All right, let's check out EU. EU longs were absolutely beautiful this week. Now you can see here we close up the week with a very small hourly bearish imbalance. Okay, and you can see the first thing that the market did is actually pulled back into that bearish imbalance and left a rejection candle. And this is at midnight. Okay, I'm still sleeping, but then I come again. I pretty much come in right there on this forward candle. And what this forward candle did is, if you watch carefully, it actually broke. This is what I call a break of reaction. It actually broke the reaction out of that bearish imbalance. And this immediately tells me forward bearish imbalance is failing. We go for the liquidity. Boom, first long. Monday, early Monday. We saw that, longs. Okay, there was even two longs here on Monday. What does the market do next? Okay, forward bullish imbalance. Guess where we're going? Again, where is your low hanging fruit? Target number 1, target number 2. Absolutely beautiful rally. What happens next? The market prints yet another forward bullish imbalance. The buyers are absolutely in control. Now this one was a little bit choppy. I think we didn't take a long on Wednesday because it was pretty choppy. You can see it came in 1, 2, 3, 4 candles and then finally it popped. But then again, buyers in control. Where do we go? Taking liquidity. You zoom out to the left again, find some more lower hanging fruits like that. In this case, we did take this high here. Okay, and then you see we reached kind of a point in time where the market is kind of getting a little bit too high, but it still came into that forward imbalance. It still reacted in one last liquidity grab before we really started kind of retracing a little bit lower. And you can see after we swept that high, there was no new forward bullish imbalance. If you study all the rest of the breaks, okay, this break had an imbalance, this break had an imbalance, this break had an imbalance, okay, and all of them worked out. But the one break that we actually swept, it ended up retracing back and attacking again the low-hanging fruits to the downside. Okay, so this is what happened on EU this week. We took a lot of longs. It was beautiful. Now, let us see what we can expect once again. So let's delete everything. We're having a weekly bullish imbalance. However, I no longer look at that weekly bullish imbalance because if you then look at the daily time frame, we spent 1,000 candles inside. We went pretty deep into it, so I'm really not interested. So on the weekly time frame, we can look at the candle anatomy, which is how the last candle closed in respect to the previous one. It is breaking above the previous candle's high, okay, and this is a pretty bullish sign. Now, what is again in terms of the weekly low-hanging fruit? Immediately this high, okay, dropping onto the daily time frame as well. Now, unlike the DXY, here we have only this daily is small bullish imbalance. We don't have one right here. So the current positioning of the market, I actually really like. If there was a daily bullish imbalance right here, I would have definitely already been looking for longs, but we don't have it. So in that case, I really have to study the forward time frame. There is another low-hanging fruit here, this daily swing point that did not get taken. So really, again, right now, is the forward time frame gonna take control? Okay, so are the longs gonna take control? What I really like is that we don't have anything bearish. So on the way down, we're not having bearish imbalances. The market is not really impulsing very strongly lower. No, it actually came in, collected liquidity here below Wednesday's low, took it out, and immediately rejected. So again, in this case, I'm more long bias, honestly. But I would see two situations. Again, I'm always thinking in terms of scenarios, guys. I used to always say, okay, we're gonna go higher and that's it. No, that's the wrong way, according to me, to trade, okay? Many people, again, want certain outcomes. If you want certain outcomes, you go follow somebody else and then you're gonna see they're constantly wrong, okay? And then eventually you're gonna realize, right? But this is what I wanna see. Scenario number one, the forward time frame really pop up, break some structure, close above that, give me some sort of a zone to work with, and then I'm gonna be looking for the liquidity. If I see sellers kick in, then I'm gonna be looking again for the low-hanging fruits, which are this daily bullish imbalance here. And then, of course, this is going to be the first liquidity. So this is my EU. Once again, you can see it's kind of when I'm not extremely certain of a direction, I always give two scenarios, and I'm just gonna wait for the market to open, show me where it wants to go, and I'm just simply gonna follow it, okay? Because when you have a strategy, when you have an edge, when you have found the concepts that actually help you identify momentum, identify direction, and identify liquidity, all you have to do is literally wait. Like, wait for the market to show who's in control, and then you just have to find a way to get in, which is of course the other difficult part, but everything we have built into a very profitable system, so there is never a time to doubt. Okay, so that's EU. Let's see who takes control. I would prefer the long side, okay, but we might also have a little bit of a manipulation going a little bit lower into the daily, and then maybe from the daily we start popping higher, but that is again a little bit too far away into the future, so let's just wait. Let's see. GBP/USD, also, again, like, for example, I shouted shorts here. However, the first thing that the market did on Monday, it came in, rejected, okay, but I'm not trading at midnight. Then 4 more hours, we're starting to come back, and then 8 more hours, when I actually show up in the market, we are breaking the reaction. So what does that tell me? It tells you immediately that this 4-hourly time frame imbalance is failing to push the market lower, and if it's failing to push the market lower, well, guess what? It's gonna push higher. It's as simple as that. There was a long here, but on EU the long was a lot better. Then I took longs on GU. I remember I got a break even this week on some of these two pairs. I don't remember which one, but again, the market break structure, there is an imbalance. It's a very small one, pulls back, reacts, gives you the long trade, absolutely expands. Again, break structure again, imbalance, another beautiful long, break structure again, imbalance here. Okay, this one failed, but again, by the time it actually started coming inside, it closed extremely bearish. You didn't get an entry long actually here, and then immediately you can see the sellers take control. Okay, where is your low hanging fruit? Target number 1, target number 2. Okay, so this one flushed this one flushed a lot on a Friday. Goddamn, I didn't monitor G on a Friday, but it absolutely dumped. Now, why did it dump? But again, just to recap on this week, long on Monday, long on Tuesday, long on Wednesday, and even short here on Thursday. So you're absolutely in the flow with the market. What caused that massive drop is actually this weekly bearish imbalance, and we actually had a drone. We actually had a drone from last week because the market took weekly liquidity. And when the market takes liquidity, it tends to pull back, where imbalance pulls back into the weekly. And right now we're having a beautiful rejection. Like, this gives me a lot of short bias. Yeah. I really like the shorts here, honestly. Do we have a bearish zone here? No, it's pretty flat. Okay, I mean, I do like the shorts. Daily target number 1, daily target number 2, and then what? Do we have something below us to target, like a weekly reaction area? No, all the way until that monthly we can potentially flush. Extremely interesting. Okay, so let's see if G is actually gonna flush. It is quite different than EU. You can see EU gave me more of a long bias, but GU, like, it has 2 absolutely sell-off days. So again, which one do you pick? That is up to you. Okay, but I'm long bias on EU and absolutely short bias on GU. Like, we're having 1,000 quality bearish imbalances, signifying sellers are absolutely in control. We have absolutely nothing to stop price. This to me is a very clear liquidity target. However, last week it was similar, right? We were bearish, we had that quality zone, and the market absolutely flipped. Okay, this is why, again, guys, I'm telling you right now, shorts, because honestly, I don't see any longs right now. I would just say wait for the market to pull back into either of these imbalances, get your entry model, target liquidity 1, and then potentially even flush a little bit deeper. Okay, but imagine something happens on the weekend and the market does this. Okay, when it does this, well, guess what? You start, if it makes a zone bullish here, you gotta go long, because that's what the market is telling you. Don't have expectations. Don't say weekly bearish. Don't say this. Don't say that. Don't say it's gonna go low. If the market shows it wants to go up, you go up with it. Okay, so again, I'm gonna keep on GU again, this singular outcome, because honestly, it's just, you can see on EU, for example, it is not giving me much. Like, no imbalance is bearish, no imbalance is bullish. So in this case, I just have to wait. But when I get super clear price action like that, weekly bearish imbalance, the market reacting absolutely beautiful from it, order flow bearish is already established. Okay, hourly bearish zones, beautiful pullback for a short. I mean, I cannot really say longs here. Okay, so let's see, short bias on GU, starting the week, pull us back here, entry model, and then potentially short. Let's see. Let's check out AU, NU, which are the two pairs that I don't trade at all. But again, here we kind of had a little bit more of a bullish introduction, but then we had this hourly bearish imbalance. And again, I gave you, like, in my desire to give you specific outcomes, I'm really not following my principles, which are always have two scenarios, always be open-minded, okay? Because again, in this case, what I actually said is, okay, let us wait to see if that fall is gonna get respected, print a new bearish move, pull back lower high, and then I'm gonna target the low hanging fruit down there. Okay, did the market do any of this? No. What the market did is open up, reacted from the forward time frame imbalance, again broke the reaction, tried to push, but it was a little bit weaker, pulls back like pretty choppy, but then it expanded, and when it expanded, then actually broke structure, and it also made an imbalance here. There is long number one, forward bullish imbalance, pull back into structure, into liquidity here. Okay, the liquidity actually got taken there, so probably a risky long right here after liquidity is being taken. But anyway, did it pull back into it? It did. Did it give you a long? Beautiful. Okay, then again, it made this one, but this one immediately got invalidated, and then it started getting into the short bias, but it didn't really pull back. So yeah, like Aussie dollar, this is a pair that doesn't work amazing with how I trade, but you can absolutely trade it. I do have members trading Aussie dollar, but I don't trade it because of this. Okay, because when I see the weekly time frame looking like that, like why would I trade a choppy pair like that? And again, you can see this week we came in to sweep out the weekly liquidity. No clear direction, no clear bias, it just goes up. Okay, takes liquidity from here, takes liquidity from here, takes liquidity from here. Let's see if it's gonna take liquidity from here. Now, currently, of course, what I can see is that buyers are in control. However, they're in control, but we are sweeping that high. Okay, we even have one daily imbalance below. Here you have to be really careful to see a daily bearish imbalance. Okay, so if Monday forms a daily bearish imbalance, okay, so trading into Tuesday, you have a daily bearish imbalance, I would start hesitating on the longs. Why? Well, because we're coming from a massive sweep here of weekly liquidity, and we did not close above it on the weekly. Okay, and then what you can immediately see on the forward time frame as well is a pretty bearish price action, but it's not as bearish as the one on GU. So Aussie dollar, honestly, I really don't have like a preference here as well. What I would immediately say is wait for Monday to play out. Let's see if Monday is going to make a daily bearish imbalance, because if that happens, then I would prefer shorts. Okay, but if we open up and we invalidate, so if we cross above that line here, okay, so if we do something like this and print a forwardly bullish, then I would like the longs. Okay, so we need the invalidation line of daily imbalance. Okay, you can type it even down. So if we do this, okay, then I would look for longs. However, if we maybe pull back and then start going lower, then I will very likely be preferring the short setup. And if we also have a daily bearish imbalance, then definitely short. So this is AU, again, not giving me a lot of clarity into the weekend, getting into Monday. So again, guys, we gotta show up on Monday, we gotta wait a little bit to see what's gonna happen, and then we're gonna go with the flow. All right, here is NZUSD. Again, two scenarios. We either print bearishness here, lower highs and flush to the liquidity, or we either pop higher, again, break above structure, which we actually did, okay? Monday was a little bit choppy, but then when Tuesday came in, we absolutely popped above, we broke structure, we printed a forwardly bullish imbalance. If only you waited a couple of hours, maybe a day, you get the clarity, you take your trade, and you take your one good trade a week. This is how I trade, okay? I'm looking for that one or two good trades per week. If I can catch these, I'm pretty happy. There it is. Forwardly bullish, long, forwardly bullish, long, you're done. Okay. When the market reaches a high here on Thursday, you can already start expecting a pullback. We're already into that weekly imbalance, so don't push it that much. So again, here, two long opportunities. But EU was the beast this week. So what do we have here? Let's see the weekly. Oh, yeah. Weekly, we have a weekly bearish imbalance. So this kind of looks a little bit more like GU. A little bit more bearish. Dropping onto the daily, however, we have again this daily bullish imbalance here, and we even have a smaller down there, do we? Let's see. Yeah, very small one, but we do have it. So weekly bearish, daily bullish, and then forward is going to be bearish. Now, when you have a situation like that, that is a very 50-50 market. Okay, I mean, the forward time frame is not really bearish. You don't have a forwardly bearish imbalance. This is a very interesting situation here. I like longs because of the daily bullishness. I don't like shorts because the forward time frame did not make bearish imbalances. but we really don't have any confirmations yet for longs. The market just kind of tapped into the daily, reacted, and it just still kept flushing below it. So again, guys, like in this case, just be honest with yourself. Like, do you know where the market's gonna go? Like, based on your strategy, what would you look for, right? Would you go and look, okay, we're having a support and resistance level, so I'm gonna look for longs. Okay, that is your strategy. Great. Are you gonna say, okay, structure is bullish. Right now we're pulling back into the PD range 50%. I'm gonna go long. Great. Maybe you look at it like that as well, 50% bearish. Like, again, what are you looking for? Because to me and how I see the market, I've got no idea. And there's going to be a comment, well, when you have no idea, why you do analysis? Well, for you to learn that not always you're going to have an idea about where the market's going to go. Okay, so that's NZUSD. Again, it can do so many things. And again, what I can just say is you wait. Okay, wait to see if the buyers are going to take over. Again, high, pull back, higher low into an imbalance. You target liquidity. Okay, if the sellers take over, tap into the daily, react, break into the daily, then this is going to expose liquidity all the way back down. You potentially start taking the shorts. But right now, it looks longs, it's tapping into weekly bearish, maybe sellers take over if they do, but if I really see it, them take over, because currently I don't believe they have taken over. Compare this price action to the one on GU. This is very clearly sellers. This one still looks like a corrective pullback to me. So again, let's give it some time if you're trading NZUSD. All right, let's have a look at gold. By the way, guys, I plan to only trade gold going forward for my personal trading because this instrument is absolutely crazy. It has been working amazing for my community members. I have a lot of my private students actually really picking gold over everything else, over EU, over GU, and I am also doing that right now. However, I'm trading the futures price action because these Forex.com, FXM, Wanda, they're always different. You gotta trade the GC. Okay, but I'm gonna change it for next week. Maybe I actually change it right now, so I can just add GC gold futures right there. But I'm just gonna walk through this type of analysis here that I had. So again, we had a lot of bullishness kicking in right there. But see, I also gave you two scenarios, because if that folly bearish imbalance got invalidated with a bearish one, I would have targeted liquidity. However, beautifully held. Then the very first thing we got on a Monday is this bullish imbalance here. This on futures, it got tapped. On Forex.com, it did not. And so many times the futures chart is going to be so much better. Okay. Second longs here, absolutely crushing them. Follow imbalance, absolutely crushed. Okay. Then we have here the third longs that came in. I believe, no, there were actually shorts on Wednesday because we saw, again, pull back. The market tried to react. It tried to break out this high, but then the sellers said no, and they broke the reaction. Absolutely crushing shorts, and then the market continued to go lower. What does it do? Quality bearish imbalances, absolutely crushing shorts, all the way even below the weekly opening. So the weekly opening was here. We made an absolutely bullish move, and then we actually closed way below it. Closing the weekly candle was a sell candle, although we expanded that much. It's an absolutely amazing instrument to be doing flow trading, which is exactly what I do. Okay, I just flow with the markets. Whatever it does, I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna go analyze right now the futures chart on gold. Let us start from the weekly time frame. Now, the weekly time frame is pretty messed up right now. However, gold is also, what I like about gold is very sentiment driven, and is very driven by risk on, risk off sentiment. Okay, recently the EU and the US reached some sort of a deal. It's not official yet, about 15% tariffs. But we started getting a little bit more certainty, okay? And you can see middle gold started kind of dropping and it started consolidating, okay? When did gold push absolutely crazy? When there was a lot of uncertainty in the market. So all the money was flowing into gold. But right now with indices, with US indices also being at all-time highs, we can slowly start to see gold consolidate, okay? But that does not make it worse to trade, because if you know how to flow with that instrument, you're absolutely going to be killing it, okay? So what do we have currently is we have a daily bearish imbalance. So a lot of sellers came in here. That was a very nice manipulation here. We absolutely popped and then we absolutely dropped. Low hanging fruit, this low here, okay? So can we get into from something on the quality time frame? Very likely, because it's an absolutely crazy drop. There's folly bearish here. There's folly bearish here as well. So to me, in this case, I can be more one-sided, okay? Because I don't see any sort of bullish signs, okay? There are absolutely nothing bullish, okay? However, can the market do this? It absolutely could. And this is like the biggest message of this weekly outlook. If there is one thing you can learn, is learn how I actually analyze and how I'm always thinking in terms of scenarios and never thinking in terms of certainties, okay? Sometimes I give you more of a one-sided bias, which is what I'm gonna do right now. I would say, okay, well, what I wanna see is for the market to pull back, give me some sort of a lower high, give me an entry model, liquidity number 1, liquidity number 2, okay? This is what I kind of want to see, but it's not about what I want to see, it's about what actually happens, okay? Because if the market pulls back into that zone, reacts, and then breaks, and then reacts, and then breaks, and then reacts, and then breaks, then guess what? You keep marrying into the shorts, ignoring that we're starting to have higher lows being built up, that order flow is right now bullish with imbalances, and then you just ignore what the market is telling you, okay? That is pretty much the message. This is how I genuinely trade, okay? There is a lot more stuff going behind, but this is how I look at the markets, okay? So yeah, we have taken this liquidity, the last thing we did. Right now, I would appreciate some sort of a pullback, and I'm gonna short it. Monday, show up. Let's see if we get a pullback. Daily time frame could also make a daily bearish imbalance on Monday, so this could be so we can draw this one as a daily invalidation line, okay? So if the market, for example, on a Monday prints an absolutely bullish price action and it kind of really destroys all of these forward imbalances, then guess what? I'm gonna look for a long. So there it could be a setup like this, okay? The market giving you the bullish push, invalidating a new daily bearish imbalance, reacting from these forward zones, but then starting to show you that the buyers are kicking in. Then what do? You trade into the next reaction area. Then you evaluate from here, okay, is the market showing me the bearish entry model? Okay, am I gonna be looking for shorts? If the market pulls back but no bearish entry model, then guess what? You can even look for longs. And then if the market really starts picking up the long steam, you just follow it. It's exactly like this week, okay? We open up right there. We still don't know, is the market gonna go short or long? The first thing that it did, long, we long it. The second thing that it did, long, we long it, okay? And then the third thing it did, shorts, showed us that doesn't want to hold from these imbalances, we short it, okay? And then it just started building short structure. We keep shorting it, targeting liquidity to the left, okay? So that's gold, okay? Let's see. I would say, okay, I prefer shorts. I will be looking for shorts. However, the first sign of longs, I'm going to be the first one to be changing my bias and flowing with the market. So let's see how it goes. All right, let's have a look at USD JPY, which is the only JPY pair that I'm actually monitoring and also sharing in my community. Again, guys, scenarios always, okay? Long scenario, break above, retest, bullish imbalance, continue. And then I had overall 3 scenarios here. Another one was to get a little bit of a deeper pullback and then the buyers to kick in. But again, you can see, right, if I just delete all these lines and you just ask yourself, okay, what did the market do? Okay, it gapped down, pulls back to fill the gap, and then the first thing that it does, what does it do? Okay, it breaks structure, lower low, it breaks structure again, one more lower low. So even if you look at structure, okay, the market just went bearish. Okay, then what do you have? You have a forward bearish imbalance. This one got missed, really? Okay, because I had people taking shorts here. I had a lot of members taking shorts. I remember lower high, you shorted. Okay, there was a short on the 1 hour, I believe here. What does the market do again? Forward bearish imbalance. The market's still making lower highs and lower lows. Again, pull back into it. You shorted again. But then as we then broke this low here, did we make any new bearish imbalances? No. What does that suggest? Well, sellers are running out of steam. We are also tapping into a weekly bullish imbalance right now. What does the market do then? Okay, it prints an extremely small bullish imbalance here, and then it also prints a bullish imbalance here. Taps in, bingo, right? Where does it go? Liquidity. Okay, this one just got missed. I'm pretty sure in a futures chart it would have taken it. So do you see, right? It's that easy. You're just flowing, okay? No forecasts, no this, no that. You just follow the forward time frame, which is the absolute best time frame you can follow, okay? And yeah, easy. Now, we are pulling back into that weekly imbalance and we're getting a pretty heavy rejection. On the daily time frame, you can see in this case, we don't have daily, or do we? I mean, this kind of qualifies as a daily zone, but not really, because it's with the gap, but it filled the gap. So this one is very questionable, okay? Like, I'm not sure if that is actually a real thing that I would observe. What I really want to see here is maybe the daily time frame to make a daily bullish imbalance. So I'm going to drop this here, daily invalidation line, okay? If the market really sells off against that invalidation line, then potentially sellers can start kicking in. But in order for me to go long, I really need to see the buyers get a little bit more with conviction. But we already have it, okay? So we already kind of reverse from here. We have made a trend change as well, and we also followed through with a new quality bullish imbalance. So again, in that case, I am more, again, one-sided. So I'm getting a lot of bullish confidences. I don't get that many bearish ones, okay? So if this was kind of a regular week right now, if that was a, let's say Monday opened here, manipulated, but then I started seeing the longs, I would absolutely be longing the hell out of the zone here, okay? But right now, again, being Saturday and Monday against you hasn't come, I would always think in terms of scenarios. So again, here we can definitely pop higher, and then if the market really starts continuing in the bullish order flow, again, find your low-hanging fruits, target them, okay? If the market, however, counter reacts and then breaks and invalidates maybe daily imbalance with an imbalance, invalidates the daily bullish imbalance with quality bearish imbalances, then again, whoops, low-hanging fruits, where are they? Immediately, liquidity number 1, liquidity number 2, okay? There it is. That's our analysis, okay? So all we have to do right now is just wait to see who is going to take control, and then what we literally do is we flow with them. So I do have a little preference that is more on the long side. However, knowing that the DXY is over a week and it kind of is doing that correct pullback, and I'm not pretty sure about the DXY, I would also not be extremely sure about USD JPY because it tends to move a lot with the DXY. So again, flow with the market. I mean, guys, I just want to stop analyzing EJ and GJ. I mean, these are just choppy pairs. I mean, well, not really, because if you're looking on the weekly, it's absolutely going crazy. However, on the lower time frames, it's very big chops, followed by push, very big chops, followed by push, and then an absolutely big chops. Again, here, I was looking for longs. The market gapped, it pulled back, it tried to go long, it sold off. Then it pulls back here, tries to do something, sells off again, tries again, chops. Then it finally kind of some buyers kicked in, and we eventually did go for the liquidity. But what a ugly, like, why would you trade EJ when you have EU, GU, gold, and USD JPY? Like, I don't know. Weekly bullish imbalance tapped, following through. That is great. On the daily time frame, we don't have much. We just took liquidity here. I would look for a daily invalidation line to see if we're actually gonna have a daily bullish imbalance. If we do have a daily bullish imbalance, I could get a little bit more interested. But right now on the quality time frame, we also don't have anything. Like, we don't have a quality bullish here, which means that the market is weak above that high. There are no imbalances, so that could immediately mean liquidity number 1 and liquidity number 2 to actually fuel a move to the top. I have nothing to say about this one. Very unclear, very choppy pair. I actually have really no motivation to analyze this because I'm literally not looking at them at all, okay? So that is your yen. I mean, again, scenarios, who is gonna take over? But here you really have to be very careful, right? Because just when sellers take over, you start chopping, and then buyers take over, but then you start chopping again. It's an extremely tough instrument, especially with how I trade. So if you resonate with how I trade, and if you follow me, then Euro Yen and GBP JPY definitely not the right pairs. And just very quick on GJ, I mean, yeah, absolute chop. We had liquidity target down there, it took it, but then after this, absolutely nothing. There are no weekly imbalances, there are no daily imbalances. I mean, until we exit this sort of thing here, I wouldn't really look at it. And then quality time frame, no imbalances. Like, again, I just have absolutely nothing to say about this one. I can just put a range here, okay? Just lower it like that and just wait, okay? Nothing to say here. Just choppy market. I have no idea how some people are trading GJ. Maybe on some lower time frames, I have no idea, but to me, this is an absolutely bad pair. All right, welcome to the index futures part. We're gonna get started with the S&P. Now, this week looks absolutely amazing. However, I only took one loss. Again, just being super transparent and honest, I took a loss on a Monday. I tried to long the market. So I longed it somewhere. Yeah, I longed it here. Okay, so a little bit too high above all-time highs. Definitely a bad decision. But then the rest of the days, honestly, were very choppy. I pretty much trade this volatile candle here, and then you can see the rest of the moves happens during Asia. Then this volatile candle here was pretty nice, but it just, I remember it popped in the last hour or something. Then we had pretty choppy price action here Wednesday and Thursday. So yeah, I didn't really find any good setups for me and my strategy on the indices this week. However, again, like just flowing with the market, we actually came into pull back into that daily imbalance. From there, we made forward bullish, tapped in, follow through, forward bullish, tapped in, follow through. So that path, but just during my timing and with my system, because I'm scalping them right now, not amazing, but what a beautiful push, honestly. So kind of makes me think I have to really go over the whole week again to see what I could have done better. But yeah, so daily imbalance got tapped on Tuesday, and then Wednesday was pretty good. Strange that I didn't take any longs on Wednesday. Then we formed that daily bullish imbalance here, and the market ran away from it on Friday. So next week, NFP, PCE price index, deadline for the tariffs, it's gonna be crazy, okay? But what I currently see is just bullishness. What I would say is pullback continuation. When we're trading at all-time highs, it's always very tricky. I always prefer to have a little bit of a dip and then trade towards the all-time highs. But for example, if that probably then fails, then I look for the daily, and then from the daily, we're gonna have to see what is gonna happen. So again, I don't trade indices like I do Forex, okay? I am just showing up on the opening, which for me is right here, for example, okay? And in this day, we actually took liquidity and we sold off, and then I believe I was seeing if I can get any sells here on a Wednesday, but I didn't get any sells, and then kind of you can see very later on, I actually stopped trading at 19 o'clock, so I just trade for the first like 3 hours, and then it actually gave some longs, but it was pretty bad. Then here again, you can see on Tuesday, it just sold off, and then again, started very slowly, but then kind of the long setups didn't really kick in. It was very choppy here, and then when it's choppy like that, I just drop it, okay? And then here, absolutely choppy, and then here, absolutely choppy. So like we made a pretty big move, but on the openings of the market, it just somehow didn't really offer me setups. But it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. We have next week still to capitalize to finish strong on the month, but I'm overall bullish. I'm just like feeling that it's getting a little bit too high. We're just keep taking all-time highs right now, so there needs to be at some time a deeper pullback. So let's see if we're gonna have a catalyst for this this week. However, just absolutely fully bullish. Any sort of deeper pullback you get, you can immediately get into a good position to then target the buy side of the curve towards that high. So for example, here, that was a beautiful dip to then drive towards new all-time highs. But then when the market kind of is really stuck at the all-time highs, usually I found it's not amazing to keep trading the indices. So yeah, that is ES bullish, either from quality bullish or then eventually pulling us back into the daily. Let's see. The S&P was a lot stronger this week. Nasdaq, we can see on Monday, it actually popped for new all-time highs. Then it actually pulled back into that daily, and then slowly made its way to the liquidity here, and then it pretty much consolidated. So definitely looks a lot more sluggish than the S&P. Like here, we don't even have a quality bullish imbalance. Let's see how the weekly looks like. The weekly is, I mean, yeah, pushing, closing above the previous candle's high. And we don't have a daily, okay? So look at ES, daily bullish and a quality bullish. Nasdaq pretty slow, like very slow. So this kind of potentially means something slowing down. Are we gonna get a dip, a deeper dip? Like this is gonna be the first target that I'm been looking for if we actually do get a dip. Because there is actually nothing to stop the market anymore. Like the one thing we made this week was that bullish. This bullish has already done its job, and right now we don't have anything. So if the market really starts closing below these type of levels here, okay, liquidity number one, liquidity two, and then it starts doing them with bearish imbalances, then that could cause a potential drop. However, I'm really not calling a top. If I see the top forming, I'm gonna short it. But right now I have no zones on Nasdaq, so I can't say I'm looking for longs because I have no zone. So all I have to do right now is maybe wait for Monday to play out, show me a little bit, or just keep showing up at my trading window. Okay, New York Stock Exchange opens, I lock in and I see what I can do. Literally the same with Forex. I'm flowing with the markets. Okay, what the market shows me, I flow with it. It's more of a scalping approach though on the lower time frame. So nothing much to say here. Really have to see how the market's gonna open up and what kind of pressure we're gonna get. Now, I only trade the ES. However, look at YM. Very nice delivery here. So we actually tried to push, we failed, and then the buyers kicked in, taking us all the way into the all-time highs. Oh no, oh goddamn, we're so far away from all-time highs. Goddamn, I've been looking too much at ES because every high on ES right now is all-time high, but Okay, very nice. So let us see then. On the weekly time frame, we actually tap into the weekly. We're respecting the weekly. Right now, we're taking liquidity. And then, of course, the next kind of liquidity points are going to be all the way up there into all-time highs. Let's check out the daily time frame. Okay, daily time frame also doesn't look that bad. It's tapping into a daily bullish zone. And it is currently being respected. So let us see again. In this case, the 40 time frame is going to be big. Yes, like the 40 time frame is also looking good. Like, if this, guys, was a Tuesday, I would absolutely long this thing. Okay, so let's see. Right now, I'm never really confident to be making forecasts and like expectations on a weekend, because the market can open up down there when the market opens up, okay, with a big gap. But this here looks like a really good setup. Weekly bullish following through, daily with a bullish, very corrective pullback, forwardly bullish imbalance. I mean, this is to me an A+ setup for longs. Okay, let's see. That's the setup. And then, of course, I really want to see the market closing above that liquidity point with imbalances. And then, of course, continuing to target liquidity to the left, which are, you can draw all of these hourly highs here. Okay, maybe you can refine them to the daily. Yep, so there is this high. Okay, so let's not draw all of these low hanging fruits. Remember, target, take your money, get out. Okay, so that is US 30 looking pretty good for longs. Let's see. DAX entering into a consolidation. So we kind of started a little bit bearish. We took out the liquidity at the bottom, and then we reversed immediately. Forwardly bullish imbalance showing us buyers taking control. We popped to the highs, taking out liquidity, then immediately shifted lower as well. Pretty choppy here, pretty choppy. So if we check out the weekly time frame, it's a big indecision candle. Checking out the daily time frame, no imbalances. Okay, so it's just going from liquidity to liquidity, from liquidity to liquidity. Okay, the last thing we did is we took out this high. Okay, and then we kind of made this bearish zone. We popped lower. We actually have right now a forwardly bearish imbalance, but this forwardly bearish imbalance seems like it's failing because we're already taking the liquidity here, but we don't have a forwardly bullish. This one is very choppy market, honestly, guys. Like, I have really no expectations here. Like, the shorts are not looking as good to me right now. I really need to see the market create new zones in order for me to start going short towards liquidity again. For the longs, I would really need to see the market pop up here, okay, and then go towards the next liquidity. So those are again the two scenarios. You can see when I'm not certain, I just wait and I give myself two scenarios, and whoever picks up the steam, I'm gonna follow them. Okay, so that is how it's looking like right now. But just be aware that we are in a little bit of a kind of a consolidation right now, so don't have like very big expectations here. So be very careful until it really starts trending nicely, either up or down. I'll be very quick with profit taking. Don't hold it for very long if you're trading DAX. But yeah, pretty choppy market right now. All right, so the most important thing for the recap is that we have an extremely busy week ahead of us. A lot of news every single day. We have NFP, we have FOMC, the Fed statement, okay, we have PCE price index, and we're having also the deadline, the 1st of August, for Trump's tariffs, okay? So really important to actually flow with the market right now and see which side is going to take over. I have provided you with many scenarios and flowing with the market type of trading in this outlook as well. DXY, I don't have a lot of conviction about potential direction because this printed a weekly bullish, but right now the daily is bearish, but the forward time frame is showing me bullishness. And in this case, I just wait to see who is really gonna take over, and then whenever I see that, I'm gonna start targeting the liquidity. Okay. EU, same thing, looking to see who's gonna take control. GU, I'm more on the short side because this one is pretty clear to the short side, so I allow myself to only give one scenario. Okay. Aussie dollar also kind of NZD and Aussie dollar a little bit 50-50 as well. They just kind of started looking bullish. However, they swept very important liquidity and they're very choppy on the hard time frame, so that doesn't make them a very high probability trade. Gold is also looking like very nice shorts, and even fundamentally it could sell off only if we get some more positive news for the dollar. We actually start getting these tariffs nailed down. And if the market and if investors start feeling a little bit more certain about the situation within the US, money is going to start slowly exiting gold, flowing into the DXY, and that is when we're going to have a big downtrend on gold. However, let's not forecast too much. Let's just show up and see what the market is going to do. However, I do prefer shorts. USD JPY also a little bit 50-50. I do prefer long side because we're tapping into the weekly bullish and we're printing forwardly bullish order flow already. So these liquidity targets look pretty juicy, but I really want to see a potential long setup. I even want to see a daily bullish imbalance to be formed. EJ and GJ, absolutely choppy pairs. I don't trade them. ES looking pretty bullish with a daily bullish and a quality bullish. However, Nasdaq pretty chopped up. No imbalances whatsoever, only liquidity available. So are we going to come to grab it? Maybe, but I don't have any expectations. I'm just going to show up and see what it does. YM also looking like an A+ long setup for me. Daily bullish, quality bullish, clear liquidity targets. Let's see if it's going to pop. And also DAX in a pretty big range. So these are the expectations. Make sure to carefully watch all the separate pairs because I do throw a lot of gems in those. Hopefully you performed well this week and you had a profitable week because it was a pretty amazing. And let me know what you're looking for in the next week. And of course, I'm going to talk to you on the next Outlook.